Hi, my name is Kelly, and as of 3 days ago, I am 2 years locked. That's crazy to say. There was a time where I would have killed a child.
Killed to have a recovery like yours. I literally fucking stabbed a child, an old lady, like.
To be here, and now it's like, okay, whatever. Yeah. Period. Let's get into it. No, you can do multiple things to get rid of your locks or even alter your locks. You can cut your locks, shave your hair, and grow new locks, comb them out, which is possible but does take a very long time. How long it takes depends on multiple factors such as your hair texture, how much time you have, if you use conditioner or not, if someone's helping you, etc. While you can get rid of locks, a lot of people have very strong opinions about whether or not you should. Some people feel like it should be this lifelong journey, and a lot of people lock their hair with the intention of keeping them for the rest of their life, whereas other people kind of don't really care about if it's permanent. Some of them might know that they want to keep them for 3 years. Some of them might know that eventually they want to take them out, but they don't really give a fuck about if that's in 5 years or if that's in 50, and don't feel like they're betraying the journey or doing something wrong for making that choice. If you want my opinion, I think we spend a lot of time policing each other's hair, and it's like, who cares? That's just my opinion. One of the more well-known reasons is spirituality. Some people have spiritual ties or connections or even religious reasons for locking their hair. It's also familial/cultural inspiration. They might have had a parent or sibling or cousin who had locks for their entire or for a large portion of their childhood. Then at some point during their life, whether it's because their parents locked their hair when they were young or because they decided to do it themselves, they also go on their own lock journey. A famous example of this would be Chloe and Halle Bailey, whose parents locked their hair when they were, I think, 5, somewhere around there. Whether or not they would have on their own is anyone's guess, but that is the reason that they are locked. I think a lesser known and more controversial reason for locking your hair is for length retention. Because of the biology? No. Anatomy? Let's say anatomy. Because of the anatomy of locks, you don't actually lose a lot of hair when you have locks, or at least you don't lose as much as people believe you do, especially if you decide to comb out your hair when removing locks, if that's the method you choose to go by. Some people decide to lock their hair for, let's say, 2 to 3, 5 to 7 years, and then remove their locks and skip the whole grueling process that is growing out your hair. Especially these days, a lot of people lock their hair because it's a low maintenance hairstyle. What that means is that it's a lot less work compared to the other common alternatives for Black people today. It's less work than maintaining box braids on a cycle or twists or anything that you have to take out and manipulate. Like, it's a lot easier than that because it's just the hair on your head. You just leave your hair alone, and that's convenient for a lot of people. I personally am in this camp. I was sick and fucking tired is what I was. So I chose peace is what I did. And I don't regret it. There's not many things that are actually mistakes. It's usually a matter of personal preference. But one thing that I think is a mistake that people have said often is letting shrinkage stop you from starting. Let's talk about her. Every single person who started a lock journey and who liked it will tell you that they wish they had started sooner, including myself. I do want to acknowledge that there are some people who didn't experience shrinkage in the starter lock phase or who have like amazing and beautiful starter locks and who didn't feel insecure during that time, but they are exceptions. Most people I hate to laugh, but most people experience a rude awakening where they convince themselves they're going to have a great insecure-free starter lock period, and that's not the case. And they are like, oh. So yeah, they are exceptions, and it's just more likely that you won't be them. So like, is it worth it? You can do it, but is it worth it is all. The first, easiest, and also probably the way you started with is asking your friends/family. An extremely common way of doing this, one that I used, is using social media to track other people's lock journeys. I cannot stress this enough. Find people who have similar length, texture, and density than you. Like, it's not worth it. It won't be that way. It won't look like theirs. There's nothing, no amount of convincing will make that difference. I promise. I swear. I fell into the trap of just looking and then got really, really mad at month 3 when I wasn't giving month 12. So let's just manage our expectations is all. Do more than you think you need to. When I was researching, a lot of creators who started their journey all over again or who had multiple lock journeys claimed that the reason they restarted was because they made a mistake that they could have avoided if they'd just done a little bit more research beforehand. And it was something like if they'd been a little bit more intentional with what kind of lock size or parting they wanted, then they would have been happier with how their journey went. I personally think that I would have liked to be a little bit more neat with my parting. I don't actually really care in the end, but when I do redo my hair, it is a little bit annoying to deal with the hairs that are mixed in from things get weird fast. So I wish I would have been a little bit more intentional so that it was a little bit less annoying now. If you do a lot of research, it's less likely that you'll end up creating unrealistic expectations for yourself. If you look at 3 pictures of really nice locks and then end up locking your hair and your hair doesn't look like that, you'll be really fucking mad. But like if you looked at a million pictures, you're like, yeah, this makes sense. Actually, it'll just help you for sure. Trust me. I have to hold my computer for this part. You should know these things before. Which parting system you want, which lock type you want, what size you want your locks to be, and whether or not you want to or think you'll eventually want to dye your hair. You should know those things before you lock your hair.